and welcome out to Cape Otway. I'm here with Papa Green.
Good evening.
Technically, yes. We're out here in the bushland out looking to shoot koalas. The bushland out here is kind of like the perfect for conditions for a little koala colony, and they're actually quite popular and dense out here. We've just driven through and we haven't seen any yet, but we've just parked the car and we're going to start exploring the manigums out here on foot, trying to look for sort of koalas in the tree. And we're not quite sure whether to look in like the little, like the V of like the tree branches, or actually up in the leaves themselves if they're sort of feasting. We're not quite sure. We're coming to this quite fresh. We've both got our 100 to 400mm lenses, so we're going to start sort of almost bush bashing through some of these fire trails, pushing past the scrub and looking up into these manigums here just to see maybe like silhouettes against the sky. It's still kind of midday at the moment, so we'll spend a few hours out here. Maybe the sun gets a little bit lower through the forest to get some nice backlighting either behind the koalas, or maybe some softer lighting onto them as well, because it's quite harsh in the middle of the day here. So going to go for a bit of a wander around and see if we can snap a koala or two. All right, let's go. Well, we've got runs on the board. Dad was just driving past and saw one outside his right-hand window, and still quite high in the tree and still quite harsh with that sun coming down directly overhead. But we've got runs on the board. We've got one. It's quite a nice way to kick off this afternoon, and we'll keep on driving through this forest and see if he's got any friends in some other branches. Yeah, nice way to kick it off, and hopefully find some more along the way. And here's another one, just up here in this little branch. That's our second for this afternoon, so yeah, not as hard to find as we thought, which is quite nice. And it's getting those kind of variety of shots, and I've just bush bashed maybe 5 meters in from the road here, so they're not too hard to find at all, which is quite hopeful. Looking forward to the rest of the afternoon, because the sun sort of sets a little bit lower through the forest. So I'll keep on taking shots and yeah, stepping away with these little friends. This guy's starting to move a little bit. He's I don't know, I thought they sleep most of the day, but these ones are being quite active, kind of moving away. I don't know, maybe they're trying to get away from me, so which is fair enough. But we'll keep on taking photos and see what we can find. Well, it's later in the afternoon and we've just come down this fire trail. We've just parked the car and just gone for a wander down, gumboots on, sort of bush bashing through some of the undergrowth here that's overgrown, and hasn't been as easy as we thought. It's definitely in the right forest, in the right area. They've got these manigums around, and there's some older ones around, some decent trunks where we saw the other two, but we've gone down here for about 10 minutes and no sightings yet. Dad heard a noise and he thought he's heard one. He's giving me the thumbs up saying, yes, he definitely heard one. So they're around, allegedly. But yeah, not as easy as we thought once we're kind of here. The light's a little bit better now. It's kind of a little bit lower through the forest. It's almost 4 p.m. So yeah, going to slowly wander back up this fire trail and hear the bird life. And we're definitely in the right forest and we're in the right area. It's just about whether we can even see that actual blob up in the trees somewhere. But yeah, we'll keep on exploring. Well, after some bush bashing, we found him again, right up here, right at the top of that branch. This is that second koala that we found before, but it's now about 3 hours later in the day. So the sun's behind me, a lot lower in the sky now, and it's really illuminated the trees and the branches and the koala from behind. So it's really got that nice sort of soft glow behind, and the koala's face is quite evenly lit now, not being directly illuminated. So the ears are kind of aglow with light, and the backdrop as well. So it's really quite a nice scene here, sort of making my way into the bush around behind the koala there, and just sort of shoot them back with the sun behind. So yeah, actually turned out quite nicely. And this is kind of like a nice last little shot here out at Cape Otway before we head over to the further down the Great Ocean Road down towards the 12 Apostles, where we might be trying sunset tonight and maybe sunrise tomorrow, depending on how the light is for either of those. So yeah, time to pack up and continue along down the Great Ocean Road and yeah, bring it on. Good morning out here at Gibson Steps. Another early start today, especially in summer. The sun's rising at about 5:50 or so. Dad's just up at the beach exploring out. There's these two sea stacks. The second one's kind of hidden from this vantage point here. And the clouds didn't quite come over as far to the east as we thought. They're kind of just hanging on that western horizon. So the last minute change of plans to come out here instead of our usual sunrise spot. But I think we'll make it work. It's about 20 minutes until sunrise, so I've eyed up a composition down the beach with a couple of rocks in the water moving around, and then here's like another spot here where it's kind of looking directly onto the face of the rocks, and you've got those waves coming in, lapping against the shore and maybe a long exposure and get some water movement. So I want to go ahead and try to get a couple of shots before this sun rises too quickly, and should get some nice sort of golden orange light on the actual sea stacks themselves, which would be quite nice, rather than actually have them in silhouette. We're actually facing more west, 180 degrees away from the sunrise. So there'll be maybe some clouds on the horizon that might get a little bit of colour and texture, but it's more about the light on the rocks, kind of that orange contrast against the blue of the sky and the water. It's the kind of idea. So try to get away from these little sand midges and try not to get too wet in the waves and get a few shots. Well, I think I found my composition this morning. There's these little rocks on the shoreline, and on this high tide, as the waves are coming in, not every set, but every few, they're sort of rushing up past the rocks and then swirling back around them. And the other thing is, these rocks here are actually quite far away from the sea stack, so rather than going ultra wide at 16 mil, I might have to go a bit closer to 35, 50, maybe even 70 mil. So that's kind of standing back a little bit further down the beach so I can look forward onto the rocks and then line that up with the sea stack in the background. So I'm going to try to find out the right angle here, dodge the waves as they're coming up on the shore and get my tripod out of the way and get a few frames of that sort of that longer exposure and getting that water either rushing up onto the beach or kind of like running back down through into the ocean. So I'll fire off a few frames and fingers crossed. Well, we're just on sunrise and the light's starting to pick up on the rocks and the clouds and the waves are coming in. I think we're okay. But we're getting all this motion with the water coming around and playing with the rocks. So I'm going to stop bubbling on with these vlogs, get a couple of shots, and they'll turn out. I'll put it up on the screen now. Well, that sunrise turned out all right in the end. As soon as the sun got above the horizon, it just ignited the sandstone of the sea stack and the cliffs curving around. So we had a little bit of cloud in the western sky, so added a bit of texture and character to the sky rather than having that sort of that plain bluebird sky behind the rocks. And yeah, I sort of found some nice rocks down in the foreground, and as those bigger waves were coming up and rushing around them, I was getting those long exposures of those water streams coming through. So it turned out all right, sort of on sunrise, and then just after sunrise, Dad and I were sort of playing around with some shorter exposures and going a bit telephoto on the sea stacks themselves, and just going handheld. There's enough light at the moment, so pop the tripods down, just going handheld. Tried a couple, even f2.8, kind of shooting across, skimming across the surface of the water. You actually see both of the two. Well, I'm not sure. Gibson Steps is this area, but I think it's the name of the rocks. It could be. Anyway, there's two sea stacks, one sort of hidden behind here at the moment, and we're sort of getting down close to the water and getting those two sea stacks in the background nice and sharp, and then that foreground kind of nice and blurred, kind of leading in. It's kind of really nice colours and tones, especially this time of day. You get those rich, vibrant oranges in the sandstone, and then the water and the sky still come that deep, rich blue as well. So it's that nice colour contrast between those two. So yeah, not a bad little start to the day. So we're going to make our way back down to Melbourne, and if those photos turn out right in the end, I'll show you on the screen now. But thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.